Okay guys, where is my stream manager at? Just gotta get it up and then I will be good to go. There we go. Okay, welcome back to Ace Attorney One Day. This is one of my personal favourite days of my game cycle just because Ace Attorney is one of those game series where I never have a bad time with it. I always have a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm very excited to play this game for you today as part of my 5-game cycle. So today we will be continuing the final case in the first game in the Apollo Justice trilogy, that being Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. Just a quick note about tomorrow's stream. I do plan on streaming tomorrow, although it will probably be an earlier start time because Fred's brother is coming over. So I do want to stream, but I will also have to shift it. So usually I start at 4 PM BST, but tomorrow I'll probably start at 3 PM BST, just so I can still have a good stream and then end the stream and be ready and also, you know, happy enough to go from streaming to spending time with, well, family and future family. So yeah.
You're already family, girl.
True. So let's start the game. I can't really think of much of an intro. So yeah, I feel like I already said what I had to say in my intro anyway. So I'm gonna have to be really careful now because now I have 2 save files for the same case, but I mean, it's a good job they timestamp the save files because it does make it easier to tell which one is which. So let's start playing. And before I start reading, I'm gonna have a precautionary sip of my drink because yeah, I can't actually remember the last time I took a sip of my drink today, so there we go. Hopefully the game audio should be okay for you guys. I do have it at what I assume to be like I do have it at what I think is like my optimal audio range. Like, I want my streams to be, so I want you to still be able to hear the game but also be able to hear me nice and loud and clear without both being too loud or without one drowning out the other. So yeah, but yeah, if you're in the chat or even if you're in the comments on my YouTube channel, don't be afraid to be like, by the way, your audio's a bit low. So yeah, because I imagine there will be people out there watching this that are also fellow streamers and they might know better than me what the ideal kind of audio range is for the streams. Well, we will now begin the trial of Vera Misham. Is the judge okay? His voice is all raspy and he's looking around all nervous like. Oh god, if his voice is all raspy, I should try and make him sound like the judge from the Ace Attorney anime, but I just know that's gonna destroy my throat.
What do you mean? It's easy to talk like this. You just gotta pretend you're ancient.
I'm not ancient though.
Pretend! If you cannot pretend, then you will be kicked out of this courtroom.
I don't even know whether that picked up on the mic, but my fiance just did a pretty damn good impression of the judge from the Ace Attorney anime. Because the judge in the Ace Attorney anime is voiced by Kent Williams, and I think he does a really good job of, like, if I were to imagine what the judge sounded like, I probably would have, gone with like a raspy old man accent. Although I do give the judge like a posh accent, but anyway. The repercussions of today's trial will most likely be felt for a long time, and may indeed alter our legal system forever. Today is a test of the jury system, and the first step towards a new order in our courts. I get why they haven't adapted the Apollo Justice trilogy into an anime yet, especially because the later two games that came out on the 3DS actually do have anime scenes in them. But I am kind of, it's a big what if, because I'm kind of wondering what Clavier Gavin would have sounded like in the anime, because he's meant to be this like German rock star. So I do wonder who would have even voiced him. Daddy's secret mission. The jurists will function like a jury. It is hoped their inclusion will help the courts to better reflect the people's will. There we go. Just adjust the camera a little bit. Why aren't there any jurists in the courtroom? 3 closed-circuit cameras watch this courtroom at all times. The jurists have access to everything that transpires. Jurists judge well and judge cool. And now see here, Prosecutor Gavin. I was going to say that. My apologies, Her Judge. Jurists, today, judge today's trial coolly, if you will be so kind. The jurists are unbound by the letter of the law. They don't affect the trial with evidence, but by their feelings. We actually get a better look at how a jury can affect a court in the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles series, which I will be playing. So, yeah, I think... So there's the Apollo Justice trilogy, and then after that, I think it is just the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles that I have left to play for Ace Attorney games. Wow, I'm also forgetting about Miles Edgeworth Investigations. So I do think after Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy, I will probably play Miles Edgeworth Investigations collection, because technically after the Apollo Justice games, I think the investigation games were the next ones to come out in release order. And then, because Great Ace Attorney Chronicles didn't actually get a Western release until a few years ago. So, yeah. So they're the latest Ace Attorney games by far. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. The details of the case, if you would. The victim is the painter Drew Misham. He was killed in his own studio. His coffee was poisoned. By whom, you ask? By none other than the defendant, Vera Misham. There wasn't any poison in the coffee. Acton, someone has been doing their homework. Indeed, poison was not present in the coffee, but on the mug itself. The mug? Residue was found on the rim, I see. The autopsy report describes the manner of our victim's death. The court accepts this as evidence. So we have Drew Misham's autopsy report, death by atroquinine poisoning, estimated time of death between 9 and half 9 at night. So, yeah. According to this report, the victim's death was caused by atroquinine poisoning, a chemical compound that does not occur naturally. Lethal dosage is a mere 0.002 milligrams. A touch of atroquinine in the body is the touch of the Reaper's scythe. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin, you may present your witness. I have for you today a simple man for a simple case. A man who witnessed the murder in its entirety. That journalist, no doubt. The witness will state his name and occupation. Ah, right. Well, for starters, my name's Mark Russell. My job is a lone observer of the world. In other words, a freelance journalist, right? Ahem. If you don't mind, I'd like to state something here for the record. Yes, Mr. Brushell? I dislike conclusions, specifically the aspect of jumping to conclusions. Preconceptions make Park sandbox of endless desert waste, end quote. But you are a journalist. You said so yourself yesterday. Well, that's true, yes. But you must understand, I stand before you today a man with a dream. I'm offering you my testimony in exchange for exclusive rights to the story. Scoop turns Mr. Brushell into that Mr. Brushell, end quote. Let's hear your testimony then, shall we? A simple case, eh, Gavin? For me, the jury is still out. Okay, first testimony from Mr. Brushell, the journalist story. I visited the studio around 9 o'clock that night to do the interview. The first outsider to enter the atelier. Journalistic history made, end quote. His daughter brought us coffee right after we started. And you know what happened next. Star falls, end quote. No one else entered the room besides her the whole time. That does sound like a simple case. Unless you were the one who poisoned him. Whoa, what are you saying, Judge? Ahem. Need I remind you, the cameras are rolling today. I felt the need to be a bit dramatic. You didn't do it, did you? Me do a thing like that? Come on, that's like newspaper making the news, end quote. Or even contemporary witch hunt, end quote. I know, wild accusations rock courtroom, end quote. Rock indeed. Prosecutor Gavin sure looks like he's having fun. I'm so happy for him. Very well, Mr. Justice, your cross-examination, please. Okay, so I'm gonna utilize my usual strategy for this one, which is to press the statements and get as much information as I can before I go about presenting evidence. So let's press this statement. 9 o'clock at night, isn't that a little late for an interview? If the great painter Drew Misham says come at 9 o'clock, believe you me, I go at 9 o'clock. The first, as it turns out, last interview with such a prolific painter. Right, can you tell us what it was like when you arrived? Press. You were the first reporter ever in Drew's studio. Posterity will look back on that night as a turning point in journalistic history. A basically insignificant step for all mankind, but a giant step for that Brushell guy, end quote. If no one on the outside ever had access to the studio, then it would serve to reason that the deed was done by an insider, by which he means Vera did it. So, how did this epoch-making interview go? Press. Would you mind being a little more specific? Ooh-wee, let me tell ya, I enjoy a cuppa. In fact, it all began when I was in 3rd grade. No wait, 4th grade. That's not what I meant. I believe I know what her forehead is driving at. This coffee the victim was served. Did anyone other than the defendant touch it? Right, that's what I was going to say, really. Well, now, if you've got a question to ask, you best straight up ask it. That's what I tell all the new recruits, several times if necessary. Write for a grade schooler. That's my motto. Which isn't to say I can only write grade school level stuff, mind you. Who touched the coffee? Dunno. I was in the back looking at the studio's equipment when she served it. And what happened next? Press. What's this about a star falling? Star falls, huh? It's like an old telegram. Send money over. Zowie, you don't know? That's like a journalism code word. An important personage passes away. A star falls, get it? But there's no gravity in space, is there? I wouldn't think stars could fall, really. Does this matter? Ooh boy, this is good stuff, good stuff. How about star breaks? Nah, lacks punch. I know, star dies. Nah, lacks imagination. Of course you could go with Drew dies, straight to the point. I like it. I think we need to hear about something a little more substantial. Okay, so, to avoid any potential backtracking by selecting the wrong answer, I do check that I'm picking the right answers when choices come up. So, trial former, I think I'm on. So we're gonna ask about the Stars coffee. You say Mr. Misham had the coffee too, but did you actually see him drink the coffee? Of course. He who sees it wins, but he who says it wins bigger, end quote. I live in a man sees dog eat dog and writes about it world. Yet. I guess I can't say I saw him drink it, really. He had one so-called sip, if that. Man puts lips to mug, drinks, end quote. That poison is quite virulent, I hear. My stomach did a so-called somersault, since I gulped down that coffee without so much as a second glance at it. Wait, maybe something's there, some kind of so-called trick. Anyone want to venture a guess for the record? Does this guy have a pause button? Well, Mr. Justice, did you find that testimony valuable? Okay. Yep, it was very important. So, there we go. The victim drank his coffee, then immediately fell over. Oh yes, you can go to the press for that one. Your Honor, this is a vital piece of information. Please add it to the testimony. Very well, the witness will add this to his testimony. Vital, right. He had one sip of that. The next moment, he was on the floor. So, is there anything in the court record that can contradict this? Oh, it's slow acting. Okay, so there is a chance that he could, well, yeah, in that case he didn't go to the floor instantaneously. You know what I have a problem with? A particular property of the poison used, atroquinine. Oh, Prosecutor Gavin was quite clear about the poison. A lethal dosage of 0.002 milligrams paralyzes the central nervous system. If you drank that, even you, Mr. Justice, would be reduced to a quivering pile. Why are you using me as an example? Unfortunately, we weren't told everything. There was a vital omission in Prosecutor Gavin's information. An omission? Atroquinine is as virulent as he says, but death doesn't come upon ingestion, not immediately. That's because atroquinine is slow acting. Slow acting? What? According to one forensic scientist, it's one of the most virulent poisons, but it's absorbed into the body astonishingly slowly. It takes at least 15 minutes from the time of ingestion for adverse effects to show. If we suppose that the moment Mr. Misham sipped the coffee was when he sealed his fate, then he would still have had time left to enjoy his last cup of joe. Order! What's the meaning of this? If what the defense says is correct, why, that contradicts the entire testimony we've just heard. Well, Mr. Burchell, anything to say on the record? Slow acting. SLOWACT. It was virulent, alright. Even then, it had already begun digging its claws into the journalist. He's working on his scoop. It's Brushel, yeah. Her Brushel. Let's take a trip back down memory lane. Huh? Did the victim really die the instant he took a sip? Think it over. This is vital. You know what I think? I think that was a not-so-subliminal suggestion, end quote. I admit, it does cause a problem if he died when you say he died. I would be forced to say Auf Wiedersehen to my simple case, and you would be forced to say farewell to your article. Come again? You can't write a story based on conjecture, can you? And as the case drags on, other reporters will pick up the scent, and you'll be forced to kiss your exclusive scoop goodbye. Scoop, scoop. Look, wait, just wait a second, just 1 second. We're waiting, out with it. I think I just recalled a so-called important detail, a revival of recollection, end quote. A story's survival, end quote. Attorney utterly confused, end quote. Actually, I did notice something when I visited the studio. I'd heard of poison that takes its sweet time, see? But not what I've been saying for the last few minutes, apparently. Mr. Bushell, are you saying you noticed something that explains what happened? You bet I am. The antidote for a poisonous contradiction, end quote, you might say. Or, I still have no idea what you're talking about, end quote, I might say. I figured it out, but only after an in-depth interview. See, thanks to my journalism skills, I know who poisoned that coffee. Order, order, order! As far as I can tell, the witness is standing by his testimony, that Mr. Misham died the instant after he drank. Of course I'm standing by my testimony, and my dream of exclusive rights to the story. Ack, I suppose it was too much to hope for. What was? Of course he wouldn't choose a simple case, not him. Him? Phoenix Wright, who else? Acton, Herr Bushell, report for us if you would. What is it that you noticed? This court is a critical trial of the jurist system. I'm afraid no room for doubt is permissible. You will testify to the court about what you noticed. Okay, new testimony. What Bushell noticed. When I arrived at the studio, Mr. Misham was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course. Now that I think about it, what if he was writing a suicide note? A suicide note? Yes, he had this look on his face. Man's face inscrutable as a quadratic equation, end quote. Suicide? Poor Mr. Misham. But that means Vera's innocent. Would someone commit suicide in the middle of an interview? Oh, very well, you may begin your cross-examination. Okay, press. Was there anyone in the studio other than Mr. Misham? Well, his daughter Vera, of course. Was anyone besides Mr. Misham and Vera present? Not a single one. Not a cat, not a rat, not even a mouse. The only person who didn't belong to that studio there was you, wasn't it, Mr. Marshall? I know what you're doing. I know your game. Attorney uses classic Ramsden phenomenon ploy, end quote. If you intend to suggest that this reporter is a suspect, I'm sure you also intend to present evidence supporting that assertion, correct? In the meantime, let's move along, shall we? Okay. So, I don't know whether I'm jumping the gun here, because, oh no, that letter was, yeah, never mind. That letter is to Drew Misham, so that's not the one we're looking for. So, press. So he put the letter away when he saw you? Early reporter gets worm, end quote. That's my secret. I'm not sure I follow. It's the night of the interview. I arrive 15 minutes ahead of schedule. The handle turns, the door opens, and I barge in. Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that a lawful entry, really? Mr. Misham sure seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could. I know a secret when I spot one, and that was one. It does seem significant. Well, Mr. Justice, I wonder. It does have the ring of something important. Yeah, let's add testimony. I think, yep. The defense finds his testimony vital, Your Honor. Very well, please add it to the testimony then. Hey, why not? My account comes free of charge. Okay, so we didn't find a letter with a yellow envelope, but we did find a letter with a red envelope. As it just so happens, there was a single letter in a desk drawer at the scene, in a red envelope. What? Prosecutor Gavin? Yes. Was a yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, no. But her forehead? It's easy to mistake the color of an envelope. I guess, but not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already, 7 years ago. Well, Mr. Brushell, I can explain that. Drew, right? He wanted to get that letter in an envelope pronto. Get it out of sight of my beady eyes, right? So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed away. And what about the whole red and yellow envelope contradiction, chump? Well, Mr. Justice, have you anything to say to the witness's claim? That night, the victim put a letter he had been writing in a red envelope. Well, it's impossible, I would imagine. Yeah. That's impossible. Ah, I like your expression, so full of confidence. It's simple, really. As it just so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of the envelope with the assistance of forensic science. What? Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Misham. Oh? Why would he address a letter to himself? Let alone send a suicide note to himself. I've been scooped. Order, order, order. Mr. Brushell, can you explain this to the court? Oh my. How could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lots, end quote. I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Brushell. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. His desk drawer? Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp, end quote. A stamp? Whatever for? Well, to mail his letter, what else? And then, why yes, I think I saw him put it in his letterbox. Yes, it was a yellow envelope, and he put it in that box. Well, apparently this yellow letter has nothing to do with the case. Oh, how I wish it did. Just think if that were a suicide note. What a story. Star writes suicide note in front of reporter, falls, end quote. Ahem, as I was saying, that has nothing to do with this case. That said, yes, Your Honor, it makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope. $100,000 is quite a good deal of money. So this was from 7 years ago, yeah. So, am I finished here, I mean? Am I finished here? I was thinking of, going home to start writing. This guy seems in a rush to get out of here. I hate to state what should be pretty obvious to anyone, but when you catch the scent of a story, you make that rather unique face. Come on! Attorney has active imagination, little else, end quote. Even I noticed something, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. You know, I'm starting to understand what all this perceiving stuff is about. Excuse me, is about. Judge has active imagination, end quote. Please continue with your testimony. Tell us about the setting of the story. Hey, I'm the one asking the questions here, usually. Okay, another new testimony. The scent of the story. Actually, it took a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview. Reporter leverages story, gets his interview, end quote. The story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. That red envelope probably has something to do with it. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare. So you threatened to go to press with this story? That's how you got your interview? Blackmail? Well, yes. I mean, no. It wasn't exactly black. I mean, I'm not Something wrong, Mr. Bushell? Well, look. This is my story, my tidbit. Journalist info is livelihood. End quote. I see. While you have me chatting away in here, what's going on out there? What if some Wally Wordsworth or Sally Scooper gets wind of my story? They could be going to press while I'm going to waste. The court feels your pain, Mr. Russell. Mr. Justice, let's pick up the pace. A certain case 7 years ago. Wait, 7 years ago? Huh? I wonder if it's the same case that Mr. Wright worked on that caused him to lose his attorney's badge. Okay, so the bracelet thing is active, so that's making me think we might need to perceive something. So, yeah, let's see. Okay. So, we're going to perceive this statement. Oh, I found it. Yeah, his armpits are sweating. Oh my god, that's a really weird tell. Sweat much, Mr. Brushell? Yeah, well, a man can't help his glands, you know. It's more than that. When Mr. Misham's talent was mentioned, you suddenly began to sweat buckets. Ack, you're hiding something about his talent. What? That's ridiculous. Evidence time. Let's show where Mr. Misham's true talent lay. It just so happens I have evidence showing the talent mentioned in that letter. Okay, so, yeah, I think it's this painting in particular they want to show. I can't help but wonder what the court is supposed to conclude from this evidence. Oh, other than that you've made a horrible mistake. Oh, come on. So maybe I present the original painting? This painting was found in Mr. Misham's studio. There are two problems with this painting. The first is it wasn't painted by Mr. Misham. The second is that there was another painting in the studio which looked exactly like this one, except it was only half done. Then we have a letter discussing a payment of $100,000, which suggests a certain business operation. The business of making forgeries. Ow! That is all, Your Honor. Everyone, please, everyone. Can we keep this private, please? This is my story, my scoop. Forgery. That's a serious crime. Drew Misham is known as an artist these days, but there were rumors he dabbled in another kind of art until a few years back. Another art meaning forgery? Drew Misham was talented, alright. Talented at making precise, detailed fakes. The fact that certain criminal elements were quick to discover. Criminal elements? What? You can't seriously be talking about... Exactly. I'm talking about forging evidence. The rumors started circulating 7 years ago. 7 years ago? So, are we to understand that this letter, this payment of $100,000 was for... Exactly. Forged evidence nets tiny profit, end quote. Order, order, order. Why, it's like our victim was living a double life. Aha, this is my chance. So, the victim had ties to the criminal world, right? He could have had plenty of enemies we know nothing about. This is my first time hearing of this criminal world. We certainly found no criminal connections when we conducted our investigation. But how do you explain all this money? You have to admit there's a possibility of some illegal activity here. But there is no proof tying this letter to our case. Our case was and remains simple from the beginning. Only the defendant could have poisoned that mug that night. And you, of course. Hey, hey, hey! The only thing I poison is my pen when I'm writing reviews. Mr. Bushell, your testimony to this point has been quite unreliable. It doesn't speak well of your reporting acumen. What are you talking about? My journalism is rock solid. Journalism so solid you could stand an elephant on it, end quote. In any case, let's hear a summarized recap of your testimony. If we can ascertain the situation in that studio from the recap, the trial is over. Apollo, what's he talking about? The cross-examination showed Mr. Bushell didn't have reason or means to poison him. As long as there are no other suspects, then the killer has to be Vera, that's what. This next testimony is our last chance. Mr. Bushell, your testimony, please. Okay, so let's press. Oh no, this is just testimony, sorry. I was getting a bit ahead of myself. The only other person in the studio that night was the defendant. It was Vera who poured the coffee. She's admitted as much herself. The only thing that touched Drew's lips during the interview was that mug. And nothing left that studio after he died. Nothing. Clearly, the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter. A nice testimony, clear, succinct, and without room for doubt. Aw, shucks, you really think so? I believe this clarifies the situation that night. Very well, Mr. Justice, you may begin your final cross-examination. Right. I still have one trump card left to play, and I won't let this trial end until I use it. Okay, so I think I know what evidence to present. So, I think this is wrong. I think something else touched Drew's lips during the interview. Because if we look in the court record, you might remember that there is this tiny frame and there's traces of the deadly poison in it. But whatever was in this frame isn't in it anymore. So there is a chance that if Drew for some reason needed to touch or lick whatever was in this tiny frame, then yeah. Oh, I jumped the gun, didn't I? Oh, god damn it. Okay, never mind. Why do I always jump the gun? Urgh. Okay. Is there anything else that could have touched Drew's lips during the interview? Yeah, they're in Yeah, I'll just press then. So, okay, press. But that doesn't prove Vera poisoned it. How many times have we heard that on her forehead? The poison reached its victim via that coffee mug. And from where did that coffee come, Not to beat a dead horse again and again, but perhaps you could fill us in? I'm on it. You need a horse beat, I'm your man. Okay, press. And you witnessed her pouring the coffee? Of course I didn't witness it. When she came in with that tray, the coffee was already poured and steaming. Let us not forget the defendant has admitted to pouring the coffee herself. I heard her statement. I poured, I served, and I killed. What? That last part was just a little joke. I don't think I'm going to get anywhere with this coffee mug. I need to find another weak spot in this case. Okay, I am just gonna examine that thingy if I can. Yeah, I can. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's anything to examine there, so it's kind of meaningless. Okay, yeah, okay, so, I wonder if the painting was poisoned. Because sometimes in order to get extra clues, you do need to examine things. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look like any of the paintings have anything to hide. Yeah, so it doesn't look like the paintings are hiding anything. Okay, so, let's press. You're sure about that? Well, to be really, really precise, I was busy gobbling mint candies the whole time. One of those candies might have been poisoned. Yet, at the time of the autopsy, no fresh fragrance of mint filled the room, and no mint residue was found. It was a long shot anyway. Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this. You think the victim ate, drank, or otherwise ingested something other than coffee? Well, Mr. Justice, if you have some proof, the possibility is there, I can feel it. Just maybe not prove it, not yet. And possibility isn't going to cut it, not now. Mr. Misham ingested that poison via room other than that coffee. I think I can prove it. Okay, yeah, I will, okay, so I can prove it. Proof is possible. Oh, excellent. Let's see your proof then. I do wonder if I have to do... I hope I'm not jumping the gun again there. Please show us your evidence. What evidence shows that the victim wasn't poisoned via his coffee mug? And this is where we present the frame. Must I explain this over and over and over? We don't need possibilities here for her forehead, we need proof. I know that. You should also know that every proof has its moment. Perhaps you're a bit early. I can tell you what we know at this point. The victim put nothing to his mouth but that coffee mug. Another hole in this case that needs plugging before I can prove anything, but first things first. Okay, so yeah, I did jump the gun a little bit. Okay, so let's, yeah, so let's press this statement. Ooh, click on the game. Not one thing, you're sure? Yep, sure can be. Well, with one exception. One exception? What? Journalist Spark Marshall does interview, leave studio, end quote. Ah, ahahaha, come on. It's a joke, get it? Not funny, I know, but still. Did something leave the studio that night? Why does that sound familiar? Where have I heard something like that before? Now that we've proven our witness is a comedian of sorts, I'd like to turn to our defense attorney before returning to the testimony. Do you have any idea what, if anything, might have left the studio that night? Okay. I think I might have had an idea. So, so I think something did leave the studio. So, yep, we're gonna prove that just one thing left. I think one thing might have very well left the studio that night, actually. A certain something that has vanished from the crime scene. By which you mean something other than our witness? Of course. Don't tell me, Mirror Mission. Believe me, any comic relief I may provide is entirely unintentional. Then let's see what you've got for us, Mr. Justice. Well, this thing wasn't at the scene of the crime, so I can't show it to you. But I do have evidence that shows how it could have been taken from the scene. The letterbox. This is the only link between that studio and the outside world. A letterbox? What did Mr. Russell just tell us? When he entered the studio on the night of the murder, the victim had just finished writing a letter. Yeah, I said that, and yeah, it was true. Furthermore, you went on to tell us that he put the letter in a yellow envelope and put it in the letterbox. Ah, but that very same letterbox was empty. In other words, that night, the yellow envelope disappeared. Ah, yes, intriguing. So an envelope has disappeared from the scene of the crime. Of course, this changes nothing. Huh? He has a point, Mr. Justice. What we're trying to figure out here is how the poison got into Mr. Mission. Is it really important that this envelope the witness says he saw disappeared? Well, if it did disappear, then something did leave the studio that night. That seems very important to me. Very well then, the witness will add this to his testimony. You got it. I still think this fails to change anything her forehead. I wouldn't be so sure. The letter disappeared from the crime scene that night. This is exactly the opening I've been looking for. Okay, so now we can strike with the stamp. So let's press the statement. So I'm just skipping through this text because we've already read it. So yeah, we can prove it. Wait, do I not need to present the thing again? Huh. Mr. Mission poisoned the coffee mug himself. Cool. I mean, not cool, but... Order, order, order. But that doesn't, does it? Recall if you would. Atraquinine is a slow-acting poison, yes. The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on the envelope. But his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lips to that cup of joe. You have something to add, Mr. Brushel? Uh-oh, his nose is picking up another scent. As I believe I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp, end quote. But you know, I don't seem to remember him ever finding one. Maybe he just run out? Incidentally, we searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime. There were no stamps, not a single one. That does pose a problem. How will you prove that the stamp was coated with poison? Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used was poison possible. Ah ha 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 ha. Good show, good show. You can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene in the first place. Well, let's hear what the defense has to say anyway. Where's your evidence that proves the existence of this poison stamp? Okay, and now we present this. Well, that certainly is a cute little frame, and by little I mean really little. It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself. I noticed that too during my inspection, so what? Apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important. Missing something? Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of this frame. Atraquinine residue. What? Why wasn't I told about this? The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller, maybe an inch wide at most. You aren't saying... Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? A commemorative stamp, perhaps? Order, order, order! The poison stamp was in this frame? Impossible. Prosecutor Gavin, why would he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he had it there so he could commit suicide if the mood struck. You know, can I say something? I had a thought, see? What, Mr. Russell? And please stop jittering around like that. The victim was a forger, right? There's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger forges friends, makes enemies too, end quote. So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him. Oh, rich. That's rich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the governor's song lyrics, please. Finally, something we agree on. The stamp was a murder weapon? Nonsense. Murder is a simple business. Who would go to such lengths? No one. Oh, I disagree. Come again? Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Drew Misham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. The mail! Now, if you wanted to kill someone you couldn't meet, but you knew read letters, or read letters, a stamp would be the perfect weapon. Ridiculous. Where's your proof? I want proof. Show us evidence that this poison stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon. I might not have evidence per se, but things are finally starting to come together. Well, what is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling. I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Mission was killed. Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice. A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can show you how someone with the intent to kill sent Mr. Mission the stamp of death. Okay, so, is it the red envelope again? That seems to be the only thing. Isn't this the envelope, the one from 7 years ago? Think about the text of the letter again. There were 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. And this is page 2. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor. Ah! In other words, if I have this straight, the stamp, poison on the stamp, lick lick gasp, end quote. Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked? He would sign the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? Then he would put it in his letterbox. 15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing the letter, but the clock started ticking, and when the time came, he drew his last breath, and the murder weapon would have been taken away from the scene. Quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system. Such a splendid imagination you have, her forehead. Let me confirm one thing with you, if I might. So, this poison stamp was inside this envelope from 7 years ago, yeah? Is that what you'd have us believe, really? Well, it is a little bit of a stretch, but here's a possibility. Yes, a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? A poison stamp in this envelope, the stamp that then became the murder weapon. How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence? Well, it was 7 years ago and we don't even know who sent that letter. And your answer is silence, I see. Very well, I move to... It's not nice to pick on the Fraulein, Clavier. Oh, Christoph Gavin! Oh my god! Oh wait, what? It's... is it Emma? And Clavier just thought it was Christoph. Ah, Emma. Well, like my Christoph Gavin impression, did I sound like him? Don't quit your day job. Don't you have a crime scene to be looking after, Fraulein Detective? Someone had to come dig you all out of the mess you're making of this case. Mess? You know, none of this would happen if you just trusted in science a little bit more. You can find out if that stamp was in that envelope easy. Care to explain yourself, Fraulein Detective? Glare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right? That's right, the poison detection spray. Produce the red envelope at once. You can open it on the authority of the court. Okay, so we're gonna spray the detection reagent. Oh, there we go. I got it. There we go. Well, would you look at that? No mistaking it. That's atriconine residue. I don't believe it. A murder weapon from the past. Now, 7 years later, it bears its fangs at last. Absolutely outrageous. Tell me why. Why didn't this murder take place 7 years ago? Well, there's one possibility. Maybe Mr. Mission figured it out. Figured what out? He realized that the person who sent that letter wanted him dead, so he sent his reply with a different stamp, and put his decisive evidence in a frame. Hold it. Ak, you're still here. Can I make a statement here on the record? I, Spark Razor Toothbrushel, claim the scoop is mine. Drew Misham killed in cold blood. By sender of 7-year-old letter, end quote. No, maybe something more succinct. Star falls after 7-year delay, end quote. Order, order, order. I see no room for further argument here, though I admit this is all coming as quite a shock. To think that the murder weapon reached his mouth after 7 years. Stamp his ticket straight to afterlife, end quote. Oh no. Brushel's way of talking is rubbing off on the judge. Uh-oh, I think the witness is a bad influence on the judge. I see no need for further debate on the matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant. Apollo, I think we just won. Very well, this court finds the defendant. Gavin's stepping in. Is this the bright future of our legal system? Prosecutor Gavin? A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago? Tickets for governor's shows are invalid after 2 weeks. But it doesn't make sense any other way. It boggles my mind that so many people haven't noticed this. There's a fatal contradiction in her forehead's claim. A contradiction? A poisoned stamp was placed in the envelope 7 years ago, whereupon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would Drew Misham have done what he did? Emma explained that. He must have realized it was poisoned. Therein lies the rub. Huh? 7 years ago, the forger Drew Misham sensed a trap and put the stamp in a frame. I do not debate this, but this begs the question, why 7 years later did he use that stamp on the night of the murder? Ah, surely you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Misham simply forgot. He put the murder weapon in a frame on his desk for 7 years and forgot. You expect us to believe he sprang the trap on himself? Wow! I think I remember why Drew Misham used the stamp. I'm just gonna see if I'm right. While I admit this is all quite shocking myself, it does seem highly unlikely that he would fall afoul of a trap that had been sitting on his desk for 7 years. Apollo, I don't think we're winning anymore. I'm glad to see we're all back in the real world now. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you. Okay, then how do you explain the poisoned stamp that was in the envelope? The poisoned stamp? Where exactly is this poisoned stamp again? Have you brought it to court for us? I see no proof that such a thing ever existed. What about the atrichonine residue, huh? Oh, I agree, that does seem to be atrichonine residue, but her forehead, it's certainly no stamp. Yeah, but even if your precious poison stamp didn't exist, Drew Misham never would have used it. That is all. Irk. I believe we've come to a conclusion again. Apollo, were we wrong the whole time? I can't believe it. The poison traces match up. It can't be coincidence. I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year. Mr. Justice? Yes, Your Honor. Let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Drew Misham received a red envelope. There were traces of the poison atrichonine on the document inside the envelope. A similar trace was also found at the crime scene, on this tiny picture frame. The defense has indicated the possibility of a yellow envelope, an envelope that left the scene of the crime with the poison stamp on it. Yes, but even if this envelope contained a poisoned stamp, and Drew Misham, knowing this, put it in a frame, he never would have used that stamp. I'm afraid you're right, which means there is a fatal flaw in the defense's case. I haven't been on the wrong track this whole time, I'm sure of it. The traces of atriquinine, the envelope, the frame, and Drew Misham's mysterious death, they're all connected somehow. Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us? The defense stands by its case, Your Honor. We've seen that the logical outcome of the evidence makes no sense, which means that one of our clues must be a fake. Ah, fake clue. Fascinating. And if we find this fake, your wild fantasies will prove quite reasonable, yeah? The fake clue that's thrown us off the poison's trail is none other than... Okay, so Drew Misham has been throwing us off the scent the whole time. The victim was a fake clue. I'm afraid I don't understand. I'll explain. We have an envelope, a frame, and a mug linked by poison. That all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the victim himself. Congratulations, you completely lost me. So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fake himself, the forger. He makes a good story, I'll give you that. The fake clue, fakes, forgeries. Ah! I know that face, that's the I just had an idea face. I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going with it anyway. What if our forger is the fake? Come again. 7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years passed. Now the forger stumbles into the very same trap and dies. Why? That's what I want to know. Because the forger who was killed was a fake. Here we are again. The victim was a fake. One forger smelled the trap, one forger fell into the trap. That's 2 forgers, and one of them was a fake. Order, order, order! So you are telling us that Drew Misham, the victim, was a fake? Well, if he was the fake, who was the real forger? You better not be claiming there was some kind of switcheroo. I'm afraid you're going to have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us just who the real Drew Misham was. If Drew Misham wasn't the real forger, there's only one other person it could have been. Understood, Your Honor? Forger Drew Misham was himself a forgery. The real forger was... I think it was his daughter. There can only be one explanation, really. The real identity of the forger known as Drew Misham is none other than his only daughter, Vera Misham. Order, order, order! Mr. Justice, this is going out on a limb even for you. I kinda agree. I mean, Vera, a forger? Let's consider it before you write it off entirely. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes quite clear. Forgery had been taking place in that studio for quite some time. The forger wasn't caught in the trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in the trap wasn't the forger. Well, actually, that does make a certain kind of sense. One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints were found in the forger's studio. Drew Misham's and Vera Misham's. If we know that Drew Misham wasn't the forger, that leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. The forger was Vera Misham. Well, fascinating. Vera Misham, you've been paying attention to the trial so far? Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Who are you? Who is the forger Drew Misham? Was that an expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes into Prosecutor Gavin's face. I'm used to being stared at by Fraulines, believe me, though they usually talk to me too. Tell us, were you the one who forged those works of art? Yes. So the forger dream mission was you? Yes, it was me. What? The court was in an uproar and it wasn't coming down. We had to break for a 10-minute recess. So that's the first part of the trial done. So we're gonna save. There we go. So yeah, it turns out Drew Mission wasn't the forger in the Mission family. It was actually his daughter who was the forger all along. So let's continue. Okay, so where exactly does this leave us, Apollo? Well, the Drew Mission who was killed wasn't Drew Mission the forger, basically. Huh? Well then who was he? Well, he was actually doing her nails. So he really made those forgeries? Yes. For father. I know it was wrong. Could you tell us how it happened? My father was a painter. I loved painting ever since I was a child. One day, father saw it in me. He saw that I had the talent. The talent for making forgeries? How should I say it? It was not only paintings I made. Given the materials, I can make anything. Anything? Father was so proud and I so happy. But in the end, I was making those forgeries. I've never had a good constitution or personality. I know very little of the world outside my door. Now, because of me, Father is... Do you know about this red envelope? I remember that envelope. It was some time ago. So you were already creating your works back then? I started when I was only 12 years old. So the one who figured out the stamp was poison, that was... Mr. Justice, it's time. To the courtroom, please. We're right out of time. Wait, Vera, just one more thing, please. Those 3 paintings in the studio. I painted those as part of my work. Right. See, we checked them out and we saw what was underneath. We saw the rough sketches underneath the 3 finished paintings. I see. Mr. Justice? Yes. Father, he knew of you. Of both of you. Your late father. He was watching, gathering information. All about the Wright & Co. law offices. But lately, we're not doing just law. Yes, you do tricks, gags to amuse and play piano. Well, they're not really gags. Yet when Father heard you would resume the legal business, how pleased he was. Who was Mr. Mission? How am I supposed to know? What if he was Daddy's daddy? Judging from the relative ages involved, I'd say it's highly unlikely. Things were already confusing enough with all these daddies running around. Hi, honey.
Hi, sweetie.
We know that the victim's daughter Vera was the forger. What does this mean for the case? Guess we're about to find out. Court is now back in session. Vera seems pretty tense. She's practically chewing her fingernails clean off. Perhaps you could begin by telling us how it all worked. How did you set up this Drew Mission forger persona? There's that stare again. She's drilling more holes into his head. I know it's hard for you, but hey, he's a handsome guy. What's hard? Very well, miss, if you would. Did you really make those detestable forgeries? Perhaps you'd rather answer my question. Were you the one who painted that painting, the remarkably similar one? Ah, yes. I painted it, yes. Father praised me quite highly for it. So she was the one who made the forgeries. Yet she did not wish to reveal the truth of their operation. So the victim was a stand-in, a decoy. To the world at large, he was the forger, not her. I've done a bad thing. I have, haven't I? Regardless, we need a little more information about, for instance, this. You have seen this before, yeah? Yes, it was in the desk drawer. Very well, you may proceed with your testimony. Tell us everything you know about this envelope. Okay, time to hear Vera's side of the story about the red envelope. Press. Oh no, it's just testimony. I'm getting ahead of myself again. I created things and Father sold them. This envelope came after my first work that was other than a painting. Father handled the deal, all of it. I received the stamp that was in that envelope. It was after that job that we moved to the current studio. There certainly was much of a great interest in your testimony. Not that the witness realizes it. Very well, please begin the cross-examination. Right, okay. I need more information about this forger, this Drew Misham. Okay, let's press. So these things you were making are, you mean paintings identical to other paintings, right? The closer they were, the happier Father was. I was happy too. Still, you're quite young now. When did you begin this work? My first painting sold when I was 12. Your Honor, she had no idea what she was doing was illegal. Easy there, little attorney. You're not here to defend her for the crime of forgery. True. Please tell us more about this envelope. This envelope that may very well have killed your father. Alright. Press. By other than a painting, you mean you'd only done paintings up to that point? Yes. But Father had a realization. He noticed my talent extended to making things other than paintings. For instance, a letter someone had written. Or a fingerprint left upon a cup. Or a signature on a document, a seal upon a letter. None of this makes her sound very innocent at all. And the $100,000 promised in this letter was the start, the beginning of a new industry for Drew Misham. A new industry? The creation of items to be used in criminal proceedings. Forging evidence, in other words. Uh-oh. Press. So, you didn't know how the things you were making were being used? I enjoy painting very much. I think I understand. The Fraulein has lived in an unusual little world. Can you tell us what happened to the papers that were in the envelope? Father signed them and sent them back, I believe. Did he follow the instructions? Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp. This is a rather important matter. Give your answer some thought. I received the stamp that was in that envelope. Press. What do you mean, you received it? Did I do something wrong? You didn't use that stamp because it was dangerous, correct? Deadly poison on the back, atroquinine. A moment, her forehead. You can't force an answer upon the witness. Now then, perhaps you will tell me, Fraulein Vera? Why did you receive the stamp? The something wrong? It was beautiful. Ah, you mean it was one of those commemorative stamps? Yes, I think it was. So, you didn't know about the poison? I guess not. So the trap failed by chance, by mistake, thanks to this commemorative stamp. Quite a close call. Okay, press. You mean you moved to where the current True Studio is? Yes, we saw very few people there. I began drawing picture books. This single job had tied them to the criminal underworld. I think Mr. Mission wished to reduce our visibility in the world at large. When we had to meet someone for some reason, Father posed as the creator of the work. So that was the real essence of the artistry mission. You did the work and he supplied the face. So you really didn't know anything, did you? You had no idea how much danger you were in. Apparently not. About this commemorative stamp, could you tell us more about it? It was very pretty, and more than that, yes. It was a picture of people I liked at the time. This is something new. Apparently, we've got some cross-examination yet ahead of us. If you would be so kind as to continue your testimony, Fraulein. Wait, the stamp was a picture of her favorite magicians? Ooh, okay, so let's present the magic show ticket. Those magicians you liked, was it this bunch? Apollo, they're not a bunch. I see. Still, I have to wonder, why include a commemorative stamp like that in a business letter? Good question. Well, pretty stamps are always better and you can't beat true grammarly. But the whole murder plan was a failure because of it. Ironic, don't you think? Prosecutor Gavin? Prosecutor Gavin? Grammarly. What's with Gavin? Might I ask just one question of this witness? Huh? In your testimony just now, you stated this was your first work that was other than a painting. Please tell me, what exactly did you make? Can I ask why? No, answer the question, now. Eek! But Prosecutor Gavin, you're usually not the one whose volume concerns me. Yes, it is unbecoming of me, I apologize. But I must know. Please, Miss Misham, tell me. It was a book. A single page in a book. A book? Please be more specific. It was a handwritten book. Like a diary. No, I don't know. I wonder why Gavin's freaking out so much. What's wrong with Prosecutor Gavin? He looks like he just saw a ghost. Miss Misham, this book. Was there a picture of a silk hat on the back cover? Yes or no? How did you know? Prosecutor Gavin, the defendant is answering all your questions. Stop badgering her. He's told you nothing, has he? Your soil-sullied mentor, nothing? Sullied who? Phoenix Wright. Who else? Daddy? He never told you about the trial 7 years ago? About how he came to lose his attorney's badge? It was a certain piece of evidence that decided his fate, you know. A certain diary. On the back it bore the mark of a silk hat. What? Phoenix Wright tossed out of the profession by false evidence, and the forger who made that evidence is this girl standing right in front of me? Vera, you must tell us. The evidence you made was used in the trial 7 years ago. Who asked Drew Misham you to forge that evidence? For all of our sakes, who was it? We only met once. You met the client? Well, who was it? It was... What's going on with Vera? She's staring at Prosecutor Gavin's face again. I wonder if the client was Christoph Gavin. Yes, what? Is there something about me? I remember clearly. I remember who gave me the book, the diary. Who was it? Vera. Oh no, she passed out. The devil. Defendant Vera Misham, condition unconscious. Examiner's diagnosis, acute atrachmonine poisoning. She got poisoned. This ends the recording of the trial for the murder of Drew Misham. Vera Misham was during the trial poisoned by an unknown assailant. The dosage was just under the lethal amount, sparing the defendant's life. She is currently in intensive care and is not to be disturbed for any reason. A very simple case at first glance, until it finally began to show its true colors. The long road to the truth takes us to the record of another trial. In some ways, that was the starting point of it all. And that is where we must go to find the whole truth. So yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of time traveling now, because it looks like to solve this case in the present, we need to go back to the past. So let's save the game. Showdown time. I lost. It's only a game of poker. A game I've played for a long time and only lost twice. Who was the first? The man I killed, of course. Well, it seems I've found the partner I've been looking for all along. Over a game of cards? Why, yes, over a game of cards. That was how we first met, 7 years ago. Seven years earlier, Phoenix Wright's final trial. April 19th, 9:27 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Phew, okay. It's been a long time since I've felt like such a rookie. Got to try and relax. Ah, good morning, Mr. Enigmar. I'm sorry to have sprung this on you so suddenly. I received the files from your previous attorney only yesterday. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure I'm prepared. I understand I am asking the impossible of you. Yes, well, you haven't really told me what happened yet. All we did was play cards, and that was enough. Actually, it wasn't, trust me. Ooh, morning, Daddy. I'm so glad you came. You okay, Daddy? They picking on you? Ha 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 ha. I am fine as always. This old boy is here to help me after all. That's a young man to you. Good morning. That's a cute outfit you have on. Thanks, my first show's today after all. Oh, I'm sure it is. What the heck is she talking about? Oh, old boy. Huh? Me? Look what he started. Here. What's this? I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. They said it was really important. What's this? A memo for you or some such? Not from the looks of it. What is this? Looks like a page from someone's diary. I'll give it a read later. Okay, notebook page added to the court record. From what we just heard, this looks like it might be the forged evidence that Vera created. Well, how do you feel about the trial today? We'll get through it, somehow. Incidentally, the prosecutor today is a new guy, I hear. Ah, an easy win then, yes. They're calling him a truther bred in the history of the prosecutor's office. Of course, there's one of those every year. The switching of attorneys just before the trial. I know it is a difficult situation I put you in, but allow me to say one thing, Mr. Wright. Yes, they will not be able to pronounce me guilty today. So do your best, but do not worry. First time a defendant's ever given me a pep speech. I'll do what I can. Ha 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 ha. I see you do not understand. You see, it will be impossible for them to declare a verdict. Impossible? Yes, isn't that right, Trucy? Yep, you bet, Danny. My first look at the case was only yesterday, and the information I was given was a tad bit lacking, to be honest. Still, I'll do what I can for their sake. I believe the curtains will be lifting any time now. I'm in your capable hands, Mr. Wright. My client is Shadi Enigmar, known to the world as Zach Gramarye, a wildly popular magician star troupe Gramarye. His mentor, Magnifique Gramarye, was a rare breed of magician. He single-handedly ushered in a golden age of stage magic until he was shot dead, and Zach Gramarye is a suspect. So yeah, it looks like we're delving into a bit of Gramarye family history with this one. Court is now in session for the trial of Shadi Enigmar. Or Shady Enigma, sorry. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Is the prosecution ready? I was just thinking, is this what all the fuss is about? Bit of a buzzkill, really. Buzzkill? Is this some new kind of crime? One of the worst. This is a trial, yeah. Where are the sweaty palms, the pounding hearts? The governor's concert's got 10 times the thrill this gig's got. Who were you again? Clavier Gavin. I came to get the party started. Legally, yeah. Gavin? Defense attorney Christoph Gavin's... Ah, figures my bro's more famous in this part of town. Clavier Gavin. Lead singer for the mega hit band The Governors. You're out of your league, rock boy. I know what you're thinking. You're out of your league, rock boy. True. My debut single, 13 Years Hard Time for Love, went platinum overnight. But that's just a hobby to me compared to this, yeah? Talkative, aren't you? I like your affected Euro rock accent, by the way. I'm just getting warmed up, her attorney Wright. Perhaps you would be so kind as to fill us in on the case? Act tongue, baby. Time to call on the opening act. What was his name again? Ah yes, Detective Gumshoe. Hit it. Yay, Gumshoe! And you are? Hey, you were the one who called me up here, sir. Name's Dick Gumshoe. I'm a homicide detective down at the precinct. Detective Gumshoe, long time no see. Hey, you. Haha, me? Today's the day, pal. Today I win and you lose. I got confidence in my testimony today, see? What, you normally lack confidence in your testimony? Her detective, this is my stage, can the antics. Huh? All this hey youing and such, and I could care less about your history together. Irk. Very well, Detective Gumshoe, if you would. Please tell us about the case at hand. It happened 6 days back in a room at the General Hospital. The facts are as simple as they come. Here's the crime scene. The victim was a patient asleep in a hospital bed. The killer comes in, puts a pistol to his forehead, and bam, lights out. Them's the facts. Not so long ago, the victim, Magnifique Gramarye, was a famous man. He had the entire country under his magical spell, as it were. Ah yes, the great magician. He retired years ago, though. Say the name Magnifique to one of my generation and you'll be lucky to get a blank stare. Yes, though I'm sure the youngsters today know his disciples even better. I dare say Troupe Gramarye has made quite a name for themselves. Anyhow, the retired Magnifique's been in the hospital for the last year. What was it? A malignant tutor or something? Doing something to his liver, I think. Yeah. A malignant tumor, perhaps? In other words, he had liver cancer. He had only 3 months left to live, in fact. Okay, Magnifique's chart has been added to the court record. Diagnosed with a malignant tumor, given 3 months. The facts do seem simple enough, but something's not right. The victim was already climbing a 3-month stairway to heaven. Why not wait for him to knock on heaven's door? Why shoot him? I wouldn't have put it quite so lyrically, but it's true. Why make the effort to commit murder when the victim was about to die? Incidentally, the victim had a serious case of diabetes. Diabetes? In fact, he was about to shoot up with insulin when he was shot with a pistol. A syringe was found at the crime scene. Chronic diabetes and cancer. As much as it pains me to say it, the victim was clearly at the end of his life. Okay, a small syringe has been added to the court record, used for administering insulin shots, has been washed and shows no sign of usage. I believe the question before us is clear then. Why did the killer have to shoot this dying man? What reason could he have had? Very well, detective. Perhaps you can enlighten us as to the circumstances of the shooting. Yes, sir. Okay. First testimony in this blast from the past trial from 7 years ago. The circumstances. Actually, the victim kind of ordered the defendant to do him in. A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the forehead. The bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it, and the pistol definitely belonged to the old man, sir. Well, what? You're saying the victim ordered his own shooting? Those are the facts. I have here the letter in question. Magnifique's letter added to the court record. So Magnifique wrote a letter asking Zack to shoot him. Very unusual indeed. Although, could such thing as a letter really cause one to pull a trigger, I wonder? I believe the answer to that question can be found at the end of the letter. Ah, you cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. Detective Gumshoe, can you explain this to the court? Unfortunately, even the defendant won't say a peep about that bit, sir. One thing bothers me about this. Why didn't he just say 1-1? Why have him come at 11:05? Oh, why didn't he just say 11? Why have him come at 11:05 without some specific reason? The devil is in the details, her attorney. Well, was there some reason? As it turns out, there was. Every night for a half hour starting at 11, the victim, Magnifique Grammary, was given an IV. An IV? There it is in the picture off to the side of the bed. At 11 o'clock, a doctor would come in to set up the IV. 30 minutes later, he would come back for the empty bag. This happened every night without fail, so that was the only time they could meet without the chance of an untimely interruption during his IV. Very well, shall we begin? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination if you would. What's this reason he couldn't refuse, I wonder? He could have at least mentioned it to me. Okay, let's cross-examine. So let's press. Just because he got the letter doesn't mean he went through with it. Oh, I disagree. The victim was indeed shot in the forehead after all, just as he had commanded. It could be a setup, but let's not be in such a hurry. Maybe we should let the witness talk for a change. Thanks, pal. Fine, I can play it slow as well as I can play it fast. On with the testimony, Detective Gumshoe. Okay, press. And this letter was sent by the victim. There it is, gotcha. You're all mine this time, pal. Huh? I had the handwriting checked out, of course. It's the victim's, no mistake. Ah, I see. Ha 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 ha. Score one for the boys. I didn't lose, I was just ascertaining the facts. So why am I so annoyed? But a letter ordering your own death? Things aren't what they used to be, I guess. I'm not sure this is exactly commonplace even now, Your Honor. So anyway, guess I'll keep going while I'm ahead. Okay, so, I'm just looking at the evidence, right, what does this say? It seems fate's clock will make me wait a little longer, at least only less than 10 swift minutes remain to all, okay, that was just like a farewell. Magnifique Grammary, malignant 2-man liver has progressed to final stage with no hope of recovery. Patient has 3 months to live. Patient has chronic diabetes, requires regular insulin. TUI and trust, 11:05 p.m. Okay, so press. How can you be so sure? Hey, you gotta learn to stop relying on people to do your thinking for you, pal. Learn to think for yourself. Get that noggin cranking. You fail to grasp the concept of questioning, Detective. First we got this letter. It says shoot in the forehead loud and clear. I can see that, but I still wouldn't do it. Well, maybe you need to grow yourself a backbone, pal. You fail to grasp the concept of shooting people is bad, Detective. We also found the defendant's pistol at the scene. Traces of gunpowder residue shows that it had been fired recently. Well, Mr. Wright? As far as I can tell from looking at this photo, there seems to be no issue with the prosecution's claim. Photo. Maybe there's something in there I can use. So they're saying the defendant shot the victim in the forehead? I think there's a hole in the prosecution's argument. Clearly, Mr. Enigma. Maybe he shot something else? Come on. Okay, so, yep, so Zach shot something else. So, yeah. Looking at this photo, another possibility occurs to me. Yes. What does the letter tell us? That the defendant had a reason he couldn't refuse his teacher's wishes. Bingo, pal. That's when the defendant popped him one in the forehead. Oh, the defense disagrees. You see, the defendant had another choice he could make. What, and you can prove that with this photo? I can prove he had a choice, yes. The defendant might have fired like he was ordered, but he didn't shoot the victim's forehead. Well, let's hear what you're thinking, Mr. Wright. If he didn't shoot the victim's forehead, what did the defendant shoot? Well, there's a bullet hole in this clown here, so let's present that. The clown doll? Take a closer look. See, it's been shot in the forehead too. Ah, there's a hole in its forehead. Yes, and a hole in the prosecution's claim. Ha, and I suppose you have a reason as to why he shoot the clown doll? He didn't just shoot the doll, he shot the doll's forehead. His forehead? Ah, let's read the orders once more, shall we? You will shoot one shot square in the forehead, which is exactly what he did. He shot the clown doll square in the forehead. The defense has raised an intriguing possibility. That hole in the clown's forehead, it definitely looks like it was shot. Bailiff, send someone to investigate this matter. I admit I'm impressed, but I expected nothing less. Still, this doesn't mean he didn't shoot the victim. Perhaps he did have to shoot a forehead as ordered, but the letter says nothing about whose forehead. This was the only way he had to follow his orders without taking a life. The bullet hole in the clown doll's forehead does demand an explanation. It might very well be a clue, yet Prosecutor Gavin is right. It alone does not prove the defendant's innocence. You cannot say for sure the defendant didn't shoot the victim. So sorry, Mr. Wright. How sad it is to see the mighty fall. How sad it is to see the novice's overconfidence. He doesn't realize just how big this little hole is going to get. Detective Gumshoe, please take this newfound fact into account as you continue your testimony. So what if he shot the clown? He still shot the victim, pal. Okay, well, the letter says one shot, so yeah, I'll try presenting that. No, never mind. I'm reading too much into it. So let me get this straight. You're saying my client first shot the clown then shot the victim? Hey, not a bad summary, pal. More of a confirmation than a summary, but whatever. That was really more of a confirmation than a summary, but our defense attorney seems pleased enough with himself. Do these people ever miss a chance to mock me? Well, now that Mr. Wright's gotten that out of his system, shall we continue with the testimony? I didn't have time to gather all the details before coming in here. This testimony might be my only source of information. Better pay attention and read this letter carefully. Press. Just because he got the letter doesn't mean he went through with it. Oh, I disagree. The victim was indeed shot in the forehead after all, just as he had commanded. It could be a setup, but let's not be in such a hurry. Maybe we shall let the witness talk for a change. Thanks, pal. Fine, I can play it slow as well as I can. Yeah, we already. bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it. You mean this pistol, the one in the crime scene photo? That's the one. It's a funny looking gun, so there's no mistaking it. We compared the bullet taken from the victim's skull with the bullet fired from this gun. The rifling marks on the bullets were a perfect match. So, you verified the murder weapon, in other words? You bet we did. Press. Why are you so certain? What pile of sand has your head been stuck in all this time, pal? You never heard of Zach and Valance quick draw shooter? Huh? What's that? One of the defendant's specialties. Zach and Valance stand on either side of a girl. Then they shoot. But the bullets don't hit her. Instead, they hit everything else on stage. This was one of the pistols they used in their show. Got a great design, huh? The kids love it. Many boys and girls join the police because of that pistol, I hear. You know, that would explain a lot about the police force. Troop Grammary stopped doing that act a while ago. The old man held on to that pistol ever since. The court would like to see the pistol in question. You got it, sir. Here she is. Well, this truly is a blast from the past. Stage pistol for magic shows, see, but it can fire real bullets. It looks so much bigger in real life than on TV. Yeah, but it can only hold one round. By the way, the pistol's firing chamber is empty, and it shows traces of having been fired recently. So were any fingerprints found on the gun? Unfortunately, no. Of course, the defendant is known for wearing gloves. We might say the lack of fingerprints is in fact a fingerprint of its own. Aha, intriguing point, well made. Whoa, not well made, not intriguing. In any case, the court accepts this evidence. Okay, we got the pistol in the court record. My grandchild would get a kick out of seeing this, but now it's time to return to our testimony. Okay, so we have the gun now. Fires one real bullet, barrel match bullet found in victim, no fingerprints found. Oh, that might be the evidence we need. There we go. The trickiest cases often seem the simplest. Prosecutor Gavin, you missed the bullet hole in the clown's forehead. If you hadn't missed that, you might have come to a very different conclusion. Understand? Yeah, but like I just said, pal, after he shot the clown in the forehead, he went in. Did nothing of the sort to the victim. The pistol proves he could not. The murder weapon? How? It's quite simple, Your Honor. This pistol only holds one bullet at a time. Ah. If he had shot the clown in the forehead, he couldn't have shot the victim too. Yar! But that's not a contradiction, not even close. All he had to do was reload the pistol after the first shot. Oh, where did he get the extra bullet? They're not so easy to come by, you know. If you claim the defendant had one ready, then prove to us how he got it. Heh, ha ha ha. I had a feeling this wasn't over yet. No, this party's just getting started, and I haven't proven anything yet beyond my good looks and startling record sales. An utter lack of humility. Ah, what's this? It seems that the prosecution has another witness prepared. Like I said, her detective was just the warm-up act. Ugh. Now that the audience has gotten a taste of what's to come, they're ready. Ready for what? For my decisive witness, of course. A witness whom you will find can prove one thing for us. That it was Zach Grammary who shot the victim in the forehead. Very well. We will pause for a 15-minute recess. This might be my lucky break. I'll need that 15 minutes to talk to my client, Zach. Court is adjourned. Okay, that didn't go so bad. Let's save. Very impressive, Mr. Wright. I have to say I expected nothing less. You've only just begun. I was hoping you could tell me a bit more about what happened, actually. I did not think you would believe me if I told you. Better that you discover the truth for yourself. I was thinking of you, you know. I think we need less thinking and more talking. That night in the hospital, what really happened? Ah, the way your eyes gleam, Mr. Wright. You'll scare Trucy. Speaking of which, where is she? You have seen the problem yourself, the letter. The one shot in the forehead one, right? Yes, and the reason he speaks of. I could not deny my mentor's wishes, even if it meant my own death. Why not? This is something I will not say, for now at least. What's this for now business? I have done many things in my life, some well, some poorly, but this is a cross we must bear alone to our graves. We? You wanted to know about the night of the incident? Finally, this guy sure likes to take his time getting to the important stuff. Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time and found there upon his bedside table 2 pistols. 2? Yes, the one I had used on stage, and the one that had been used by my partner, Valance. Oh, for the Zack and Valance quick draw thing. My mentor had the look of one sleeping. I stood by his bedside, hearing only the light sound of his breathing. Then I took the pistol into my hand. I cannot deny that my resolve faltered then for a moment. You faltered? You mean you thought about shooting him? Recall there was a reason I could not refuse his request. His last such request, though not his first. So there were other requests you couldn't refuse before. To be honest, I've not always been steadfast, and I fear I've brought pain upon Trucy. Was Magnifi coercing his disciples somehow? Just what was going on in Troop Grammary? Yet, in the end, I did not shoot him. Instead, I turned and shot the clown. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket. In your pocket? I believe if you examine the bullet in the clown's head, you will find it to be different than the one in my mentor. What were those called? Rifling marks. Yes, well, that is all I have to tell you concerning the case. Concerning the case? You mean there's something else you can tell me? Heh, ha ha ha. You are a fascinating man, Mr. Wright. Thanks. Yes, there is something. My mentor, his eyes opened. What? Magnifique Grammary? The old devil, he was not asleep, you see. Of course, the gunshot would have woken him anyway. And there we had our last discussion as mentor and pupil. It was not a long discussion, maybe 5-10 minutes or so. What did you talk about? Haha, Mr. Wright, did I not just tell you? It does not concern this case. Zack Grammary. He seems pretty steadfast to me, or maybe just stubborn. Mr. Wright, your presence is requested in the courtroom. Once again, I am in your hands. Right, let's get back in there. Court is now back in session. During our recess, a bullet was found in and dug out from the clown's head. Well, is this news? And the rifling marks? There wasn't time to do a detailed analysis, though they did find the weapon type matches the murder weapon. Well, that's not very conclusive, is it? Which is why I'm about to call my very decisive witness. Your decisive witness? Oh, Crunkle! Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome raiders. My name is Georgia, but people on Twitch call me G-Dog. I am a variety streamer. I stream a good variety of games. And today I am streaming Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. Currently working my way through the final case in the game. But yeah, thank you again, Crunkle, for the raid, and I hope you had a great stream. Though they often turn out to be far less decisive than you think. Oh, don't worry on my account. I'm quite confident this witness will do the job. After all, he is intimately acquainted with the players in our little production. Being the other half of Troop Grammary's famous duo, Zach and Valant. Valant Grammary? So, we get to meet the great Magnifi's other disciple. Perhaps we'll start by asking your name and occupation. Valant Grammary, magician. And you're the decisive witness, are you? You can prove your fellow student your partner's guilt. Fate, the grand illusion, filled with traps and tricks. Wait, the shooting took place in that hospital after 11 o'clock at night. If you're a witness, does that mean you were there that late? If one were to deduce this logically, the conclusion is yes. Okay. I always get the characters, don't I? I have an interesting fact for you. You see, several days before the crime, my witness received this. That looks very familiar. Well, wait. That's the same letter Zach Grammary received. Yes, or perhaps I should say, ta-da! Order, order, order. And what does it say? Surely not the same thing. Perhaps you should see for yourself. Why, it's practically the same. The court accepts this into evidence. Okay, so Magnifi's second letter, this one addressed to Valant, has been added to the court record. This is most unusual. Exactly what was going on with you folks? What exactly was your Troop Grammary up to? By which you mean, I'm just having trouble envisioning a man who would ask his students to kill him. Both of them no less. It's just my opinion, Her Judge. But from these letters, I'd say he was coercing them, not asking them. We walk the magician's path together, and in so doing, share much of our lives. When people are so close, there is strain, a warping of relations, you might say. Yet this has nothing to do with the case at hand. But yeah, thank you again for the raid, Chronicle, and trusting your viewers to me. If you need to run off and go do what you need to do, I totally get it. But yeah, thank you again for the raid, my friend, and hopefully I'll see you either in my chat or in Chugs' chat very soon. Okay. Which makes me wonder even more about this reason they couldn't refuse. Well, let's get on with the testimony for starters. The defendant, Zach Grammary, stands accused. Tell us why. Oh, I'll do more than that. For where he walks, the red roses rise singing hymns to the miracle that is magic. Fascinating, though I hardly need to remind you that the evidence could just as clearly point to you as the suspect. The letter, the murder weapon, and now the 2 bullets found at the scene. In fact, the only difference seems to be the designated time. Ha 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 ha. As every magician knows, timing is everything. Yes. And now it's time to get this party fired up. Okay, it's time for Valant's first testimony, the night of the crime. That night, I visited the hospital room at the time Magnifi requested. The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. Yet a deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss I gave to the clown. Then I informed the doctor and the police. So you were the one who reported the crime. Indeed, I would think This fact alone would clear my name of suspicion. Let's not jump to any conclusions. Yes, the cross-examination generally comes before the conclusions in this court, but if your testimony proves to be true, then the defendant, Zach Gramery, is guilty. And if it wasn't Zach Gramery, then the killer was you, Valant. And no disappearing act will get you out of that. Okay, cross-examination. Let's go. Okay, press. Which, according to the letter, was 11:20 p.m. Indeed, in magic, timing is everything. Right. Consider the illusion of teleportation. If I were to appear on stage before my stunt double has left, how would that look? Why, it would reveal the very secrets of my magic. Now that you've revealed the very secrets of your magic for all of us, let's move on. You went at the designated time, and what did you see? Okay, press. So, you weren't worried for your own safety at all? I mean, you smelled gunpowder, yes. What if the shooter was still nearby? I did not consider this, to be honest. It is forbidden for a magician to have a good imagination. Really? Is the magic all about illusions and imagination? How about this? You were the shooter, which is why you weren't afraid. And now you are the one imagining. It is forbidden for a lawyer to have a good imagination. The witness will refrain from pausing so suspiciously before responding. My forbidden imagination is starting to imagine things. Press. Which brings us back to this reason neither of you could refuse. So it does, and my partner, he did not refuse. But McAfee wrote the same thing to you. Why could you refuse if Zach couldn't? Because I have a will of steel, of course. I also do this trick where I bend steel bars, so perhaps steel isn't all so strong. So which is it? Mind if I continue? Okay. Press. There were 2 bullet holes at the scene, one in the victim and one in the clown. You're saying the one who shot the clown was you? No doubt my partner Zach has said much the same thing. Yeah, because whoever didn't shoot the clown committed murder. I better dig around here a bit more and see what I turn up. Mr. Valant, let me ask about something else concerning the crime scene. Okay, let's ask. I think we're gonna ask about the number of pistols. Yeah, the number of pistols, okay. Because Zach mentioned there was 2 pistols on the table when he walked in. How many pistols were there when you entered the room? By which you mean what precisely? 2 pistols were used in the Zach and Valant quick draw shoot 'em, correct? 1 for each of you. You are well informed, yet only one of my old friends sat in the hospital room that night. What did Zach tell me back in the lobby? Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time and found there upon his bedside table two pistols. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket. I see no problem with that statement. Only 1 pistol is visible in the photograph of the crime scene after all. So you picked up that pistol and fired it? Indeed I did. Alakazam, alakazing, alakaboom. Is the number of pistols really so important? Quite important. The number of pistols is quite important, Your Honor. Very well. Please add this detail to your testimony. What can I do but obey? Okay, so when did... Oh, okay, so there isn't a contradiction with the time of death. So, yeah, let me... Oh wait, no. Oh no, no, okay. Yeah, maybe I present the pistol because if the lance says there was only one pistol, and yet the pistol we have shot the victim, then yeah. There we go. According to the defendant, Zach Ramery, when he entered the room, there were 2 pistols on the table. 2. One of those pistols he used to shoot the clown in the forehead. Then he left with it in his pocket. Of course, this is what he would say. Unlike the hapless clown, we must assume our defendant has some brains in his head. Well, what about what Mr. Villan has told us? You see, there's something about his testimony that doesn't make sense. What might that be? I told you I took the pistol that was there and shot the clown. That's your story, at least. But the rifling marks tell a very different story, Mr. Villan. Recall what Prosecutor Gavin told us. We compared the bullet taken from the victim's skull with a bullet fired from his gun. The rifling marks on the bullets were a perfect match. Ah. Mr. Villan, if you fired this pistol, then you shot the victim in the forehead. Order, order, order. Well, this is all rather sudden. Hehehehe. What have I done? To Prosecutor Gavin? I owe the court an apology. Sorry. Sorry for what? You see, I was unaware that 2 of these unique pistols were crafted. The analysis of the rifling marks only proved the type of gun that fired them. Hi, honey.
Hi, sweetie.
But that's not what you told us before. You said you'd verified the murder weapon, which is why I'm apologizing to you now, quite sincerely I might add. Would you hold me accountable for a mistake made in my youth? That was just this morning. I am still young, and I might add it wasn't really my fault. If the defendant had only admitted he took 1 pistol from the scene of the crime, we would not be having this pleasant discussion now. Blank Grammary? Yes, Your Honor. You were presented to this court as a decisive witness, but you've proven to be more divisive than decisive.
Objection!
You'll see in time. The testimony so far has merely been a review of the facts. The proof comes next. Can you elaborate, Prosecutor Gavin? When Mr. Villan entered the hospital room, the victim had already been shot, as his next testimony will prove. Her right, the real fight is about to begin. Bring it. Very well. The witness will now testify to the court. Help us determine you shot what. I arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time, which is, say, 11:20 p.m. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation and called in the doctor. Hi, honey. What are you drinking?
I'm having an alcoholic beverage, but it's been a while. I fancy a drink.
Yes.
No spiffing. Bye.
Hi. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10 p.m., and the one in the room at the time was my partner, not me. Those times were rather close, you have to admit. You're talking about an alibi established over a matter of minutes. To use a 10-minute discrepancy as the basis of your alibi is easy to explain in this situation, her judge. For example, take our debut hit single, 13 Years Hard Time for Love. Cue to the song, press the play button, and it will play for 2 minutes 15 seconds. Do it 100 times, the result is the same. Their debut single was only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. What a ripoff! Magic is a world of utmost precision. Hocus pocus requires admirable focus. And in the time of death determined by the doctor, there is an incontrovertible truth. Very well. The prosecution warns us that we're dealing with rather precise terms, and we can expect the cross-examination to require the same level of precision. I would hope the defense refrains from its customarily broad, sweeping accusations, lest we blur the focus this case so clearly demands. Point taken. Baseless remarks will result in a penalty. Carry on, Mr. Wright. Carry on, Wright. Okay, so, um, Yeah, maybe let's present the autopsy report because the doctor seems really clear about the time of death, but the autopsy report itself isn't clear on that. No, never mind. Never mind. Um. Okay, what about the notebook page? Is this where we present that? No, okay. Maybe I just need to press on the time of death statement. don't think I'm stepping out on a limb to say I have some doubts about this. How can the doctor be so precise with the time? We do usually only get an estimated time of death, true. I'm not so sure I've heard of a verified time of death. Magic revels in making the complex appear simple, but reality is the opposite. What appears complex in this case is a simple matter of subtraction. I see another person has done their arithmetic homework. The point here is the IV the victim was taking. It's quite visible in the photograph of the scene. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim Magnifi Grammary's schedule. Every night at 11, Magnifi took an IV drip for 30 minutes. I can see the IV bag right there, yes. Now look a little closer. Follow the tube down from the bag to the end. Ah, the needle's been removed. Doubtlessly it fell out when he was shot. That would seem to be the case. When the needle comes out, the IV no longer drips. Ah, you could just measure the remaining IV liquid. Precisely. The IV liquid functions for our purposes as an hourglass of sorts. This is how the doctor determined the time of death. From the amount remaining in the bag, it was determined that the IV had stopped 10 minutes after administration began. Okay, we've got an IV record, or an IV report. And so it was. When Ivolan entered that room, 10 minutes had passed since that horrible crime was committed. And this is proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Did that seem important? Okay, I think it seemed very important, but I am gonna... Yep, very important. Well, seeing as how it is the biggest clue we have to the time of death, I'd say it's very important. Agreed. It would be hard to imagine a more precise way to determine the time. Behold the power of our arithmetic. Very well. The witness will add this detail to his testimony. Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. Okay, press. Did you notice the IV yourself by any chance? When first I entered that room, the stench of gunpowder assailed me. Next, the mark of death upon my mentor's forehead. And then his left arm did I spy a rose drooping and wilted, its thorn the discarded IV needle. Knocked from the vein by the force of the shot, luckily for you. If that IV had not been there, why, you might be a suspect. Indubitably, sir. I might say it's thanks to my lucky color. Your lucky color? Indeed, even today I wear it proudly called my suspect self, for it always without fail brings me luck. Why, when Zack and Valant won their first Magician's Grand Prix? Yes, the very one held by the Association of International Magicians. I was adorned in this attire then too, and our trophy a bust. Ah, what a day that was. Oh, this is one trip down memory lane no one needs. My lucky color, yes indeed, and that IV too. I'm just gonna clear my throat. Okay. I think 'twas used especially for me, Valant. Okay, I'm gonna give my voice a bit of a rest. Okay, I think there's a contradiction. Yep, okay. Okay, what the lance says it contradicts the crime scene photo. And the IV bag contradicts the testimony. Uh-oh. The bag is blue. Yep. And it turns green, yeah. Because he'd seen it before, probably. Maybe. Yeah, he'd seen it before. Okay. So let's pick that option. Yeah. Okay, what was the prop, I wonder? Was it a small syringe, perhaps? I'm just gonna check. Yay, it was. Okay. What does Gavin want now? Oh, is that Magnifi's diary? Yep. Okay, Magnifi's diary has been added to the court record. A memoir of sorts written up to just before he died. But it does go on there because we have the last page. Okay, let's show the evidence. And now it's time to present the page that, little did Phoenix know it at the time, would doom his attorney career. Here we go. But yeah, Phoenix realised too late that the evidence was dodgy, unfortunately. Oh my god, it's True Mission, the victim of the current case. Oh no.
Objection! Objection! Objection!
Oh no. Phoenix, what have you done? Objection! Whoa, he just disappeared. That day in the courtroom, a miracle occurred. The defendant, Shady Enigma, aka Zach Gramery, did not just escape from court. He literally, unbelievably vanished. Right before the bailiff's eyes. No one ever saw him again, not since that day. This is the Gramery miracle. Ahahahaha. No verdict was declared. After all, the defendant didn't exist. That's how it happened. The trial of magician Zach Gramery vanished along with him for all eternity. The mysteries that remained behind were all solved, however, but not until 7 years later. So yeah, that is how Phoenix Wright lost his attorney's badge. And now we're gonna get introduced to a new in-game mechanic called the Mason system. But yeah, I'm probably gonna go quiet again just because my voice is still recovering. Okay, let's go to the detention center. Okay, so the Mason system is basically an expanded mode of investigation. So usually, because we'd only focus on one time period, we usually only just do like a single investigation. But this is kind of like a double investigation combined into one massive investigation. Well, it's not massive, but it's big investigation portion. So let's talk to Valan about the fateful trial. Okay, let's ask about blackmail. Ooh, Cyclops. Okay, I don't know, I don't think we can do that now. I'll just check. No, we can't do that yet. So, we're gonna go to a different area of the past. So, yeah. So let's end inquiry for now. And let's go to Wright and Co. Law Offices. So this is how Trucy comes to kind of adopt, no, this is how Phoenix comes to kind of adopt Trucy. Whoa, that was quick. Okay, let's talk to Trucy. Lol. Let's ask about Daddy. Whoa. Okay, let's ask about the professional. Please show me. Ah, Mr. Hat. Yay. Lol. Ooh, the amazing Mr. Hat got added to the court record. Okay. Now let's ask Trucy about her mummy. Trucy's mother looks so familiar, right? Okay, Trucy's locket containing a photo of Trucy's mother, Thalassa, has been added to the court record. Okay, so we completed that part of the investigation. So that has now been marked with a tick to show that it was complete. But I am going to end the stream here, so let's save. And yeah, I guess the next time I play this game next Monday, we will be continuing our flip-flopping between two time periods to solve this really interesting final case. So yeah, that definitely saved. So let's exit the game. There we go. I don't need to save because I already did that. Okay, so gone, stream ending. But thank you everyone for watching. Thank you again, Crunkle Busket, aka Crunkle, one of my good friends from the Chugs Army, for the raid. I really appreciate it. So I hope everyone enjoyed that stream. If you did enjoy the stream, please feel free to give me a follow. Also, I do post stream updates on my Discord server and my X account, so feel free to use the links in the bottom right corner to follow me on socials. If you want the link to my Discord server, definitely use the ! Discord command in the Twitch chat to get the link to my Discord. So yeah, I will next be online tomorrow. So I already mentioned this earlier on in the stream, but tomorrow I will be playing. So I'll be going live at 3 PM BST tomorrow, seeing as I have plans late tomorrow evening. So yeah, I'm hoping to fit in a 3-hour stream before Fred's brother comes. But tomorrow I will be playing Yakuza, getting back to Yakuza 3. So yeah, do join me for that if you can. I'm gonna raid someone now. Wonder if Crunkle's actually streaming, or he might have raided me just to show support. Okay. I wonder if there's anyone good streaming Borderlands 4 right now. Although to be fair, I actually don't want to be spoiled on that game. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna raid Ali again. I know I raided her yesterday, but yeah, I can't really think of a random raid that I really want to do. So yeah, let's raid Ali again. Hi, honey. Fred's just dancing off camera, don't mind him. So yeah, let's raid Ali, and I hope to see you all tomorrow for some Yakuza 3 Remastered. And until then, have a great rest of your day, everyone. But yeah, stay safe.
Yakuza 3 Remastered, more like Yakuza 3 Rebastard.
Sorry for the Fred jump scare. But yeah, stay safe, everyone. Okay, bye-bye.